before I teach it, I'm going to make it real easy. Tell you this. This is an organ. I don't care if this is a stomach, liver, small intestine. With it, there is a what? Serous membrane around it. Remember we did the serosa? Okay? And then there's going to be another membrane that's called the parietal. So this is the visceral serosa. It what? Attaches to the organ itself, right? Like the intestine, remember the tube? Well, guess what? There's a visceral membrane around the liver. There's a visceral membrane around everything in the abdominal cavity, around your stomach. So far, you with me? So now I can do this and make it real easy. Here you are. All I'm going to do, this is your and this is your body. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a membrane. Membrane, notice it attaches to your body wall. You notice I also left the space here and here. And to stop me, I am going to tell you that this is called, this whole inside is called the peritoneal cavity, or your abdominal. This red membrane is called the parietal body wall peritoneum. Everything not inside the sac, whether it be here or here, all of this is called retro peritoneum. Outside. You know what's outside the peritoneum? What are these? What are those? Kidneys, and your adrenals, and your ureters. You know the tubes that carry urine? You know where these tubes go? These tubes go to your bladder. So your bladder is not in the what? Peritoneum, the abdominal cavity. Your kidneys are not what? In your abdominal cavity. Really? Your ureters are not in there. You know what else is not in there? Your uterus is what? Retro peritoneum. So now you ask me the big question, what in heck is in the abdominal cavity? Well, look. What came down here? What is this? This is your esophagus. This is your what? Stomach, right? And I'm just going to tell you, your small intestine, except for one part of it. I'm not very good as an artist, but this is shifted over. Part of the duodenum is really what? Retroperitoneal. And then the rest of your small intestine is what? Within, and that leads to your what? Large intestine. Here is your cecum, here's your appendix, and here's your transverse colon, and here is your descending colon, and this is going to eventually go to your what? Sigmoid colon, and out to your rectum. Okay? What else is in your abdominal cavity? Ready? So inside, let's make a list. Inside your abdominal cavity is, ready? What? Most stomach, most of the small intestine, large intestine, 4, I ignore it, your liver, your pancreas, your gallbladder, and I'll show you better pictures of it. So what the heck is peritoneum? All right, ready? She did, this picture is really good. I like this picture. The only one I like. This picture here represents your abdominal cavity. See it? See this line here? This is your what? Parietal peritoneum. And then off the parietal comes peritoneum, you ready? That wraps around each organ. And when it wraps around the organ, it's called visceral peritoneum. So I don't care which organ. I have organ X here. There's going to be what? Parietal peritoneum. That's going to what? Split off and what? Surround the organ. This will be visceral peritoneum. That will be parietal. You all understand that, folks? Yes or no? Yeah. Okay? Okay. Here goes the names. Oh man, that's so easy. I'm going to erase this because it's too confusing. When you run for the bus, you've got 20 feet of small intestine. You want it all hanging loose? It'll get what? Twisted and turned and what? Get, stuck. Huh? 20 feet of it? You don't want that. You want it all what? Nicely held in place. So the first peritoneum I'm going to show you is an easy one. Here, look at the stomach. Here is the small intestine. What are you going to do some of the ribs? Here's the wall. Promise this will be easy. Here is the parietal peritoneum. Remember that's up against the wall. What is it going to do? Look, it's going to dip in. I'm not going to do it between each loop because I'll run out of getting. You see it? You know what it's doing? It's going between the loops and around them. And guess what it's doing? It's anchoring the loops here, from loop to loop to loop to loop. And it's also anchoring it, where to the back of the abdominal cavity. Remember, it's three-dimensional, the abdominal cavity. So your small intestine is, you ready? you've got what? Visceral peritoneum wrapping around the what? Small intestine. It's between each loop. You with me? Folks, pay close attention. What? When it's between, wake up. When it's between, you know what's sitting in here? In here are nerves and blood vessels, what? Going to the loops. Nice and beautiful. So you've got this visceral peritoneum between the loops and what? Around the loops, and bringing to each loop of the intestine what? Nerves, blood vessels, lymphatic vessels, etc. So what the heck? I'll teach you some pathology because you like it. In men, particularly, we have a problem. You ready? At the bottom of our abdominal cavity, look what I'm showing you, there's like a hammock of muscle. You see it? Muscle. Okay? You know, if you open a chicken, you can see what? A big cavity? But unlike humans, we have this what? Hammock of muscle with two holes in them. With two holes. Here's the hammock of muscle. And you know what these two holes lead to? They lead to your scrotum. And inside here are your testicles. And these little openings, here and here, are called inguinal canals. And then, sometimes, here are the loops of your intestine. Sometimes, what can happen is the loop of the intestine breaks loose. Holy mackerel. Look what it's doing. It's going in and back out. And it's pressing on your testicle. Is that going to hurt? That's called an inguinal hernia. Most common. How do you get that? Sometimes by straining and what? Lifting something, you tear the peritoneum and a loop of the intestine, what? Gets loose, it's not held in place, and your luck, where does it go? In the inguinal canal, and you go, oh, that hurts, because particularly when what? Food goes through, that's going to make it even bigger. And you know what? You got to be careful. I love the word. Sometimes that loop can be pushed up. Doctor can feel it and say, oh yeah, you got a hernia, and he pushes it back up and it's going to drop right down. But sometimes you can't push it up. You know what happens? This is life-threatening. The loop goes into your scrotum, and you know what it does? It twists. If it twists, can food get through? You know what they call that? A strangulated hernia. Or an incarcerated, you know, like you go to prison. The loop is in prison. It's trapped in your scrotum. And you got to get to the hospital right away. This it strangulates, meaning what? Turns. What can you shut off? What's coming to the intestine that you're going to shut off? Blood, right? And if you don't bring blood, what happens to the intestine? It dies. You don't want to what? Lose a segment of your intestine. Then you're in for big surgery. They got to what? Quickly get you to the hospital, cut away the dead intestine, what? Hopefully into what? Rejoin. So if you feel sharp pain in your scrotum, that could be one of several things. Okay?